It was 2:14 a.m. when they came. No warning, no doorbell, just the crunch of boots on gravel and the glint of tactical gear catching the faint glow of our porch light. My heart slammed against my ribs as I crept to the window, peering through the blinds. 3 shadows moved in sync, their steps deliberate, like wolves circling a campfire. I could barely breathe, the air thick with dread. But then I heard her Eleanor, my grandma, shuffling behind me, calm as ever. "Trouble doesn't knock politely," she whispered, her voice steady despite the hour. A retired Army nurse with more medals than I could count. She'd traded battlefields for a quiet life of chamomile tea and novels. Or so I thought. We'd moved to this sleepy cul-de-sac 2 years ago, hoping for peace after her decades of CRVYC. The neighborhood was picture perfect, manicured lawns, friendly waves, and a homeowners association that seemed strict but harmless. At first, it was fine, but then the notices started: petty complaints about Eleanor's garden gnomes, her veteran lives here sign, her refusal to bow to their every whim. We laughed it off. HOAs are known for their power trips. But when our security cameras started glitching at odd hours and shadowy figures lingered near our fence, Eleanor's eyes sharpened. She installed backup cameras, ones that uploaded to a cloud server. "I've seen this game before," she said, her tone clipped like she was back in a war zone. That night, as the intruders closed in, I saw what she meant. These weren't HOA busybodies. Their vests, their formation, the way they scanned the house sites screamed military. Eleanor didn't flinch. While I stood frozen, she slipped to the coat closet and pulled out something I never expected: a battered M79 grenade launcher, a relic from her CRVYC days, legally stored as a collector's item. My jaw dropped. "Is that even allowed?" I stammered. She gave me a half smile, handing me a small pistol. "Stay low, Jack," she said, her voice like steel. The lead intruder knocked 3 sharp raps, no words. Through the crack in the blinds, I saw a patch on his vest: HOA enforcement. It looked fake, like something stitched together in a basement. Eleanor flicked off the lights, plunging the house into darkness. My earpiece crackled with the feed from our night VY sound cameras. 3 hostiles, I whispered, my voice shaking. "One's at the doorknob." Eleanor nodded, creeping to the front door. When a cold voice demanded we open up for compliance, she laughed a dry, humorless sound. She cracked the door, just enough to reveal the launcher's muzzle. The lead guy froze, his pistol wavering. "You want compliance?" Eleanor said, her tone ice cold. "Here's all you're getting tonight." They backed off, startled but not gone. One reached for a sidearm. Another had a military-grade comm unit clipped to his vest. This wasn't about lawn ornaments. These were pros, hiding behind an HOA facade. Eleanor demanded they state their business or leave. The leader muttered about a Regulation 17 violation, but his eyes kept darting to the launcher. When one stepped too close, Eleanor jerked the weapon up. "Step back," she said, her voice eerily calm. They muttered among themselves, then retreated, one spitting, "This isn't over." As their shadows vanished, I slumped against the wall, sweat dripping down my face. Eleanor lowered the launcher, exhaling slowly. "They'll be back," she said. We spent the rest of the night in the kitchen, the launcher on the table like a silent guard. Eleanor pulled out a folder, months of notes, screenshots, and suspicious letters with mismatched HOA logos. She'd been tracking them, piecing together a pattern. One page mentioned a code matching the comm unit we'd seen. "This isn't new," she said, her eyes distant. "I've dealt with their kind before." At dawn, our neighbor, Mrs. Carter, showed up, trembling, holding a letter with the same fake HOA stamp. It demanded access to her property. Eleanor's jaw tightened. "We're not alone," she said. We called in Marcus, an old friend of Eleanor's, a retired intelligence analyst with a laptop that looked older than me. He dug into the documents and found a match. The fake HOA's emblem tied to a shell corporation linked to illegal surveillance. "This is Operation Redwood," he said, cursing under his breath. "They're targeting veterans with specialized skills." Eleanor, with her artillery expertise, was a prime target. The realization hit like a punch. They weren't here to find us, they wanted her silenced. Days later, they struck again. A smoked VYC exploded by our trash bins, clouding the driveway. Neighbors screamed, confused, as a black SUV sped off. Eleanor didn't blink. She rigged motion sensors, pulled more gear from her trunk, and rallied Mrs. Carter to watch from her attic. That night, the sensor screamed, for silhouettes crept along the fence. Glass shattered as a crowbar smashed our living room window. Eleanor fired a flash round from the launcher, blinding the intruders. Chaos erupted. Gunfire tore through the walls. Plaster rained down. I fired warning shots, my hand shaking. Eleanor loaded a rubber fragmentation round and fired again. A scream followed. An intruder slipped through a side door, his flashlight catching me. I froze as he raised his weapon. But Eleanor was faster, slamming the launchers but into his back. He crumpled. "Drop everything," she growled, pressing the muzzle to his head. He complied, and she knocked him out cold. Outside, sirens wailed someone had called the cops. Eleanor fired a flare through the roof, a desperate SOS. The intruders scattered, leaving gear and footprints. One lingered, locking eyes with me through the dark. Then he was gone. The police stormed in, bewildered by the bullet casings and Eleanor's launcher. She explained, calm but firm, showing them the fake HOA letters and cloud-uploaded footage. They cuffed the unconscious intruder and called in detectives. Marcus arrived, pulling more data. The group was part of a network targeting veterans, using HOA cover to gather intel. The feds got involved, uncovering a nationwide scheme. Our story hit the news. Veteran grandma fights off rogue HOA with grenade launcher. Neighbors shared their own tales of strange vans and threats. The real HOA disavowed the enforcers, and public outrage forced an investigation. Months passed. The captured intruder spilled names, leading to arrests. Eleanor testified, her gaze unflinching. But some players, maybe the mastermind T. Morgan, slipped away. One day, a parcel Aravedno return address. Inside was a dog tag with Eleanor's Sayre VYC number and a note. "We haven't forgotten." My blood ran cold, but Eleanor just tucked it away. "They're baiting us," she said, her eyes blazing. We rebuilt new locks, reinforced glass, a community watch. Neighbors called our house Fort Clara, a nod to Eleanor's grit. She mentored other veterans, warning them of fake notices. Her launcher oiled and ready. Next time, she joked, I might pull out something bigger. We laughed, but the weight lingered. EVYL doesn't always stay in war zones. Sometimes it knocks at midnight, wearing a badge it doesn't deserve. What do you think? Could you stand your ground like Eleanor? Or would you call for help? Should she have fired first? Or was her restraint the right call? And what about that dog tag proof the threat's still out there? Or just a taunt? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Eleanor, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you up at night.